Instead, he changed the subject. "Has Kieran arrived?" "Aye, last night, after you were abed." "How is our Irish friend? As reckless as ever?" Aric asked, eager for a change in subject. "Of course." The man in question grinned from the doorway. Drake and Aric whirled to the sound of Kieran Broderick's voice, their expression surely a mirror of welcome and reprimand at once. Kieran sauntered into the room with a jaunty wink and a loose-hipped gait. Candlelight danced in his chestnut hair, which had obviously been arranged by a haphazard wind, not any intention with a brush. "Sounds, the two of you look as happy as mutts that lost their meals." He frowned. "Good to see you too." "Aye, 'tis good," Drake assured. "We simply would prefer to keep seeing you in one piece." Before Kieran could defend his wanderlust with a typical pithy reply, the battle readied on the open field just outside the window. The horses pawed the mist-hung earth restlessly, their breaths white with chill, stark against the blue-black of the pre-dawn sky. Troops formed, over 100 men unsheathed weapons. The trio of knights vaulted down the stairs and left the castle to join the impending fray. Aric knotted inside with foreboding. Drake, as always, would serve Guildford with an abiding sense of duty. And Kieran? Well, the youngest of the three always followed his thirst for adventure, often at great peril, until it was momentarily quenched. With all the enthusiasm of a condemned traitor on execution day, Aric mounted his grey steed, the creak of his saddle echoing the ache in his heart. Sighing heavily, he unsheathed his sword and waited, wishing this battle gone and the warring Campbells back to Scotland. Aric had not long to wait. The battle began with a shout in the dark morn. The clash of swords declared the fighting underway. Reluctantly, he urged his mount into the melee, his weapon ready. Opponents came at him one after the other, sometimes in pairs. All seemed eager to test England's white lion, the symbol emblazoned on the breastplate of his armour. Feint, thrust, parry, kill. Feint, thrust, parry, kill. The motions were automatic and unchanged, as were the results. The metallic scent of blood tinged the air, along with the smells of damp earth and dewy grass. The thud of metal upon bone mixed with the cries of anguish and the laments of death. The greedy soil drank in the liquid carnage as the battle continued all around him, unabated. Still the sun hid slyly behind the winter-bare hills, as if concealing the utter brutalities of war. But Aric knew them all too well. He'd known naught else since youth. His uncle Warwick had made sure of that. And all of this waste of human life for what? Another parcel of land, another territorial right. The squabble the Campbells had with Guildford now seemed petty and ancient. Years ago the Scots had become Guildford's foes once his daughter, Drake's mother, had wed Drake's father, an enemy MacDougall. The union, broken by betrayal and death, still angered them. Several paces away, Aric caught sight of Drake, who was outnumbered. 3 of the Campbells hovered about his friend. Drake dispatched one of his enemies with a broadsword to the side, then gave a vicious yank to extricate his blade. A Campbell lifted his axe to Drake. Aric knew his friend would not be able to turn in time to fend off the blow. Without another thought, Aric hurled a lance across the space between them. It landed in the Campbell soldier's back a moment before he slumped forward on his mount. Drake nodded his thanks. Aric did not answer in kind, just urged his mount toward the dead Scot, and retrieved his lance from the corpse. A Campbell, thinking to take them by surprise, charged them from Aric's side. Drake tensed, but Aric saw the cur studying them. With a mighty swing of his arm, he cut the Campbell soldier nearly in 2. The dying man screamed in agony before terrible silence fell. Aric ignored the sound. "Watch yourself, friend," he said to Drake, pushing strands of his tawny hair from his sweat-slick face. He then made his way down the hill, farther into the grunting, bleeding crowd. Someone had set fire to the cottages of Guildford's crofters. Rage thundered through him for that slight, King Richard's machinations, and the ill-fated choices that had led him here. Soon Aric's sword was slippery and red, fresh blood mingling with the rotting, illuminated by the eerie orange flow of the fires all around.